Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them.
And I'm Janine, and my my pronouns are she, they.
Coming in hot.
You got me, Janine. Wonderful.
Shall I? And I'm Ken. He, him. I don't have a clever intro. That was very good.
Yeah, welcome back to DohMance Dawn, the podcast where we discuss Simpsons and One Piece, and then try and map Simpsons characters onto One Piece characters, and it just gets more difficult with each episode until I think we're going to get to the bullshit seasons. I was talking to Ken before that we hit season 7 or 8 in the rewatch that I started just to like find characters for this damned podcast that we have started. And Abby was like, "Hey, let's skip to stuff we haven't seen." So we skipped to season 25, and it's like, okay, well, here's an opening where everybody's instruments. Here's an opening where everybody is like Christmas elves. Here's an opening where Guillermo del Toro directed it, and will be good at a certain point for episodes when the episodes stop being good. But yes, welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you. No, I'm glad to be here. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
And you are a self-publisher of comics and role-playing games.
Yeah. So lately I've been publishing a lot for role-playing games. Kind of shifted into that from comics under the moniker of Bannerless Games. Kind of started out with little supplements and adventures, and been working my way up to full-blown party games and solo games.
Mm-hmm. I am a fan of some of these games that you have published and some of the comics that you have published. Killer Ratings, we did an episode of that for RPG Pals Club, and I would highly recommend people pick that out. Ken, if you had to run a One Piece RPG, what system would you use?
Oh boy, I've really liked lately Lumen because it's very much designed to be almost like a power fantasy type system, and these folks are clearly operating on a complete other level of just batting each other around. So I think I'd go with Lumen. A lot of hijinks, a lot of beat 'em ups, and a lot of loot drops.
Excellent. All right. Well, this week we are going to be covering episodes 62 through 69.
Nice.
Thank you. Of One Piece. And these episodes initially ran March 21st through May 20th of the year 2001, getting close to 9/11. Getting
Wow.
close. These are 20-year-old, these episodes are over 20 years old, which is wild to think about. Yeah. The Simpsons episodes that came out concurrently were Bye Bye Nerdy, where Lisa has a girl who is bullying her and she deals with her through science. Simpsons Safari, where the Simpsons go to Africa. Not a specific country, just Africa. Yeah. A trilogy of Error, which is the one where they do a weird sort of Run Lola Run inspired thing, except it's not actually inspired by it. They just use the movie and some or the music and some of the editing stuff. I'm Going to Praiseland, where Ned opens a park full of Bible stuff and people start hallucinating. And Children of a Lesser Clod, where Homer becomes a safety consultant and his own kids become jealous at other kids like him. Either of y'all have familiarity with these episodes?
I don't think I've seen the Safari one probably since it aired. But yeah, no, I do remember that one.
I forgot to ask, what is your general familiarity with The Simpsons?
So The Simpsons, I'm an old man. I'm 41. So with my family as a kid, we watched The Simpsons when they were bumpers on the Tracy Ullman show, and watched them myself, with family alone, whatever. Probably through the 90s into about this era. I do know I went to the movie like the weekend it opened, which is 2007. So I think I was getting spotty by that point in my watching, and I don't know. At some point, I just kind of tuned out. I think when Futurama hit around, I guess kind of around this, honestly, I that just like hit me more at that time, so I started to sort of transition out. I have not. I don't think I've watched an episode of The Simpsons in probably 10 years. So obviously, I've got some pretty deep lore here.
You've got enough familiarity for the show at this point, though. When we are continuing on to like 7 years, and people need to be like, "Well, have you seen any of season 18?" They say no, they stopped making the DVDs, and I'm going to probably have to fact check myself on that next week. That's when we'll have issues. And did you have any familiarity with One Piece before?
Zero. Having been a person who's been to comic conventions and stuff, kind of, sort of by osmosis, but I never watched an episode or anything like that.
Fair enough. Well, in those episodes that we discussed, new characters who we can now use in this include baby-proofing saleswoman, Galileo Galilei, C. Everett Koop, Katenge, Catwoman, Liza Minnelli, and George Jetson.
You forgot a very important one. Linguo.
Yes, I did not mention Linguo.
That was the robot, wasn't it?
Yes, I had to mention it because the Linguo stuff, like I went back and I just like watched some of the clips of it, still makes me laugh.
There were still some good bits in those episodes. Like, there's a weird period where, like, after they stopped being as aggressively and pointlessly transphobic for like 2 seasons, then it gets back to being like pretty consistent, and then I think there's the point where you fall off completely for most folks. But we are also here to quickly recap the One Piece episodes that came out during this time. The first obstacle? Giant whale Laboon appears.
A man's promise. Luffy and the whale vowed to meet again.
A pirate-loving town? Arrival at Whiskey Peak.
Exploding Santoriu. Zoroverse Baroque Works.
A serious fight. Luffy versus Zoro. The baffling duel.
Deliver Princess Vivi. Luffy pirates depart.
Try hard, Kobe. Diary of Kobe Meppo's Marine Struggles.
Kobe Meppo's determination. Vice Admiral Garp's fatherly pride.
And that brings us up to episode 69.
Nice.
Yeah, we have like sort of 3 very brief arcs as we get into like the second leg of One Piece. Because the party has finally crossed down the red line, which is when they encounter Laboon, who is a massive island whale at the bottom of the red line. Laboon eats the ship because Luffy punches the whale trying to slow it down. Oh, I forgot to ask, Ken, did you watch subs or dubs?
So I started on dubs, and then I eventually went over to subs because they scream a lot on the dubs, and the subs are like a little more. They're just constantly yelling. Like I get that that's the vibe, but it was very like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like it kind of just got to me after a while. So I swapped over to subs because they're a little more chill over there, and it was interesting. It kind of changed my perspective on a couple of the characters. So I'll get into that as we get into the characters, but I guess about half and half, I would say.
Okay, no, that's completely fair. So Luffy, meanwhile, got out of the boat and finds a hatch to go inside the giant whale. The rest of the crew encounters Crocus, a man living in Laboon's stomach, who takes care of the whale and even retrofitted Laboon to help, which, sometimes you just go inside a giant whale. While Luffy is wandering around, he encounters Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday, who are supposed to kill the whale for meat, so Luffy knocks him out. And Crocus gives us Laboon's backstory, which is he came along with a group of pirates who went into the Grand Line and were supposed to return after 3 years. Never did, and so Laboon wants to destroy the Red Line, which is once again the ring of mountains that circles the entire globe, and believes that it is preventing his friends from seeing him ever again. Crocus lets them out of Laboon, and Luffy decides, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make friends by stabbing the mast of our ship into this whale and promising that we can fight later when we return from the Grand Line. And then he paints the Straw Hat pirate logo on his head so that he won't attack the Red Line anymore, which is touching and weird. Nami discovers that the compass that she has won't work here, and Crocus explains that they need a log post to navigate island to island across the Grand Line, with Raftel being at the end where the One Piece is. Luffy coincidentally found one that was dropped by Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday, who are meanwhile being attacked for failing their mission. Sanji accidentally destroys the log post, though, because Luffy ate all their food, and so Crocus gives the one that he has to them, and then Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday ask for a ride back to Whiskey Peak, their home. It's a bunch of stuff in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, this was my introduction to this show. And it's like a decent jumping on point. Honestly, it is the new season, and it's like easy to get who the characters are to each other, that kind of thing. And it jumps right into this swallowed by a whale thing, which is, like it's a pretty classic naval story. It was kind of still a little bit the deep end, but I did enjoy it, even though you're right. A lot happens and a lot of characters show up. But they're pretty colorful. They're pretty easy to separate and get to know quickly.
And weirdly enough, 4Kids, which did the first American dub of the series, famously cut out these episodes.
I didn't know that.
And it's even more hilarious because they become incredibly relevant 600 episodes down the line, or 300 episodes down the line.
Oh, that's sooner than most.
Yeah, it really is.
Why so soon?
So, Janine, did you have anything to add?
About these episodes, not until we get to the naming, because like I feel like a lot of the names that I chose for these are one name is just really particular that's about the story. So like before we just rehash everything again, we'll just wait for that part. What were the next round of episodes, Luke?
So, sailing in the Grand Line, the crew is exposed to the mercurial weather patterns, except for Zoro, who was asleep the entire time and who fell asleep sometime after they were swallowed by the whale. When he wakes up, they've reached Whiskey Peak, and Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday depart as the town mayor invites everyone to come in and party, and Nami and Zoro are suspicious of this, but eventually fall for the delights of the town, which turns out to be part of the plan since the mayor is Mr. 8, and the town is controlled by Baroque works and is full of bounty hunters. And it's also this cool sort of western town with these massive cactuses, but they're really just round, massive globes that look like cactuses because of all of the grave markers on them, which is fucking great design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good reveal.
Mm-hmm. So Zoro reveals that he knew about the trap, and the entire town moves to kill him, while Nami, who is also suspicious, starts looting the town but can't find anything of value. And we just get like 2 whole episodes of Zoro beating the shit out of all of these townspeople. And eventually he runs into the Frontier agents, who all have special code names, which include Mr. 8, Mr. 9, Miss Wednesday, and Miss Monday. And there's also Karoo, who is a giant duck, and he just continues to clown on them as well. That is when Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine show up, because they're looking for traitors in their organization who know the identity of their boss, Mr. 0. It turns out that Miss Wednesday and Mr. 8 are traitors who are from the Kingdom of Alabaster, specifically Princess Vivi and Igaram, who is the captain of security. Igaram asks Zoro to protect Vivi, so Nami decides to use this as a chance to extort them and then send Zoro to save Vivi. That way he can pay off the money that he owes to Nami. Igaram explains that Mr. Zero is the leader of Baroque Works, and he wants to create a new country that he can rule over that will be controlled by organization members. Vivi's former allies in Whiskey Peak work to protect her from Mr. Valentine and Miss Valentine and Mr. Five, but they are too weak. And Luffy wakes up, finds out that Zoro attacked all the townspeople. Luffy thought they were good because they all gave him food. And so he goes to fight Zoro. And meanwhile, Mr. Five and Miss Valentine get caught in the middle of the battle and get defeated that way, which is pretty great before Nami stops Luffy and explains what actually happened. Vivi goes on to explain that Mr. Zero is building a civil war in Alabasta and accidentally reveals that he is Crocodile, who is one of the 7 warlords of the sea and a hero to the people. And since Luffy, Zoro, and Nami now know they are marked for death, Igaram moves to provide a distraction where he is going to take a boat, disguise himself as Vivi, and take a direct course to Alabasta using an eternal pose. But he dies in a massive fire, RIP. And then the crew reunites on the Going Merry. That is where they find Miss All Sunday, who is Mr. Zero's partner and who seems to be playing her own game since she both revealed Crocodile's identity to Vivi and Igaram, but also revealed that they knew Mr. Zero's identity to him, and also she just killed Igaram. She offers him an eternal pose, that way they can skip Little Garden, where she thinks they will die, but Luffy refuses, and so she rides away. And yeah, that sets us up for like the next 60, 70 episodes.
Yeah, no, you put it that way. I could see all of that. Like, it felt kind of breezy watching it, but yeah, clearly we're setting up like hundreds of episodes here.
Mm-hmm. You get a lot there because, like, especially Princess Vivi does go about a like full character change between her initial introduction and like, oh no, she's actually a princess and she is here to help.
Yeah, she was. That was aided. That change was around when I switched from dubs to subs, so it really felt like a completely different character. Like, I know they were doing that as the reveal or whatever. It's like, oh, this is like a different person now. So I have a pick for Miss Wednesday, but it's kind of just for the Miss Wednesday persona, you know, which I did enjoy a great deal, I have to admit.
Oh yeah, it's very much a less camp and far straighter version of like Team Rocket from Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
Janine, do you have stuff to add?
I don't know if I have anything. Like, I have opinions. I do. But, like, I feel like I'm kind of... Even though I've been watching this entire time, and for the first time, I feel like I felt like... It's weird. Because, like, I want to know what this story is further down the line already. Like... It's great to set up all of these pieces, but like I also kind of already want to see those pieces moving. And I think the best thing that they did was kind of show challenges and then just kind of like laugh in their face for like all of it. Like, oh, here comes like these new, more serious, more stronger people from the organization. Guess what? They also get swatted pretty easy too.
Oh yeah, like there's so many great scenes in like these episodes. Like, if nothing else, Zoro just home aloneing a bunch of people, like kicking their ladders down, cutting holes in roofs is great. And like even when you get to the like named people, it's a hoot and a half.
And there was something like airplane-esque about like just watching different people from the entire town just like turn out to be assassins.
Oh yeah, this nun and a child, they're assassins.
The reveal of her cross. Being, please, sir, excuse me. And she holds up her cross, and he's, nonetheless, batted aside pretty easily. Yeah, no, yeah, Airplane. You made me think of the lineup of people trying to shake the woman to feel better, just lined up with their various weapons, just getting their asses kicked one by one.
Mm-hmm. We then go and check in on now Chore Boys, Kobe and Helmeppo. They got into a fight and caused collateral damage, which forced them to work for free for 50 years. Captain Morgan, Helmeppo's dad, is sentenced for execution, and Admiral Garp shows up to arrest him. Morgan knocks Garp out, takes his own son hostage, and starts sailing off. Kobe swims after to save his friend. That way the Navy won't shoot. And then Kobe and Helmeppo stand up to Captain Morgan, get the shit kicked out of them. And Helmeppo disowns his dad and promises to catch him someday. Garp decides to recruit the pair into like actual Navy, brings them to the headquarters, and Helmeppo decides that he wants to get officer status. That way he never needs to work again. He moves to train harder, with Kobe joining him, and the pair rapidly start to grow. Garp overhears that Kobe is friends with Luffy and decides to fight them to test their resolve, sees both of them are willing to die for their dreams, and allows him to keep training with him. For context for you, Ken, in the manga, they will tell stories that are essentially just like single panel shots with like a sentence caption. And they'll tell these like over like 20 issues of the comic or 20 chapters of the comic. And so that's how this one started. So there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't necessarily make sense just because they needed to find a way to like thread the needle together.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed the shift. Like, I did get that sense, like, okay, we are just jumping off on something else right now.
Mm-hmm.
Was also fascinated by Helmeppo's hair/chin situation, so like that was compelling enough to watch on its own. Just the most like, when they're like training up and trying to get better, I'm like, man, just a haircut, man, just do something about that. But he did not do anything about that. Anyway, I did enjoy them. It's just kind of like a goof, just almost a sidebar or a B plot or something like that. Just a snapshot of another place and time in this world.
Which, yeah, I mean that's what it's there for. I enjoy it. I wish that they adapted more of these stories that they have. But this was the last one that they adapted as one of these 2 episode arcs, which is kind of sad because there's some returns that are set up later on, and it's like, oh, they come out of nowhere in the anime. But we are now on to the character mashing. We have 20 characters to get through this week. So are you ready, Janine?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Are you ready, Ken?
I am ready. Let's do this.
All right. So up first, we have Laboon, the giant whale with a bunch of scars who will be important for unknown reasons a while into the future. I had 3 suggestions. Only 2 of them are really good. I had Free Willy from the movie Free Willy. I had Moe's secret whale that he tries to hide from Agents Scully and Mulder, and I also had General Sherman, who I think that was me just trying to round things out. Janine, who did you have?
I asked myself, what does the spirit of the character say to me?
Mm-hmm.
This big, beautiful creature, the very large heart and a long memory, I thought to myself, maybe this is not a direct translation to a whale. Maybe there is a Laboon of the land, one might be able to say, that could definitely define this character a lot better. And to be honest, I actually did not look to see if we used any of the characters that I have down, so it might be a no automatically, but I'm going to say Stampy. The
A
elephant.
bold assumption that we won't have an elephant in the future.
But will the elephant still have the essence of the Stampy character, the larger-than-life creature that falls in love with the little boy, that they have a very inseparable bond that is very heartbreaking when they are inevitably separated?
I mean, Stampy just kind of tolerates Bart in the episode and barely saves Homer at the end. But no, I can accept Stampy as a suggestion. Who else do you have?
That's it. I was going to argue Stampy for 20 minutes.
That's the content our listeners are here for. Ken, who do you have?
So I had one pick. I decided not to let size wasn't my determination. It wasn't the thing I was determining on here. I admit at first that my first instinct on this was kind of a lark almost, but I kind of thought about it, and I don't know if I convinced myself that it made sense. But I feel like I saw some of Snowball 2 in Laboon. Obviously black, of course. Something about the blankness of the eyes, and I also feel like Snowball 2 was. I'm a cat person. I grew up a cat person. Initially aloof and maybe even off-putting, but actually kind of a sweetheart in his silent way. So I don't know. I got major pet vibes from Laboon. Obviously, loved his people, wanted to see his people again. And that's kind of where I landed. I just put a red spiked collar on him and call it a day.
Fascinating. I was the one who went very literal with this. I'd put up Free Willy as my most direct choice versus Stampy and Snowball 2. I'm leaning between Free Willy and Snowball 2.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go fuck myself then.
That's what I took. That's what I took from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you said Stampy. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I just immediately yeah, of course. So I don't know. I might be voting against my own choice. I don't know. There's something about elephants and something about this whale. It is the big and the big, but I think
it never forgets.
Yeah, yeah. There's that, and there's that basic sweetness. I feel like that's a big part of it. So I'm going to go against myself here. I think Stampy's. I think Stampy's the move.
Janine, are you hardcore Stampy?
The people love Stampy.
Yeah.
You know what? You got it. You got it.
I don't care if I get anything else now.
I know. Are you done? Are you just gonna hang up now? Okay, got it. All right. Boom, Stampy, out of here.
Oh no, the very last name is what I'm gonna also have another argument about.
Wonderful. Up next, we have Crocus, the weird doctor with a mysterious past and a connection to Gold Roger. Janine, who did you have for Crocus?
I started off with Dr. Hibbert for the obvious just translation of doctor to doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But I also thought very hard about Abe Simpson because of how the character had this past of being inside of a badass group, where Abe Simpson was a member of the Hellfish.
Mm-hmm. And Ken, what about you?
I had a couple choices for this one. I feel like they were both kind of obvious in their way, but also that's not necessarily a bad thing. Mm-hmm. First was the sea captain. I don't think I saw him in your list, which kind of surprised me.
We've debated the sea captain many a time.
Yeah, this is actually not the only place he appears on this list for me. Horatio, I forget his last name, but yeah, the sea captain, of course, for pretty obvious reasons, I think. Mm-hmm. But also groundskeeper Willie. He's got it's the brusque kind of exterior, and then there's sort of that allusion to there's a lot of weird shit going on with him, his past, his history, all that. And he's got that really abrasive kind of personality, but he's an okay guy, honestly. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I gravitated. That was another one I was kind of surprised to see had not already been picked. But those are my two: the sea captain and groundskeeper Willie.
Well, there's something I'd like to introduce you to called the Ooter Pile kit. So I have 3 suggestions. There's a veterinarian from Homer Palooza who is pretty much the cheapest doctor that they can afford, which doesn't really fit beyond the veterinarian idea. There's also the veterinarian from Dog of Death, the guy who fails to resuscitate a hamster via mouth-to-mouth and then just tosses it into the trash can.
Oh, yeah, and it has a little basketball hoop around the trash bin. That was a good gag.
The wild idea I have inspired by facial hair, vibes, and the mysterious nature. And Janine, are you ready to be blown away?
Yes.
Jasper Beardsley. Hey.
Jasper Beardsley.
Mm-hmm. One of
That's a Paddlin guy?
yeah.
Wow, I was expecting that guy to be stuck in the Ooter pile forever. That's where we send minor characters that aren't good enough for like other characters that we had discussions about, so they
Or
get
if I have
placed
a
inside
really
of.
good idea.
Or there's a really good idea that we need to save it for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do like Jasper Beardsley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a fan of Jasper.
All right. Well, it sounds like that's a Paddlin. Just paging my picks. That's a Paddlin. We then have Miss Wednesday, aka Princess Vivi. Uh, Ken, who do you have for Miss Wednesday?
So I'm going strictly on the sort of Miss Wednesday persona that she has up front. And this was when I was still listening in dubs, which I feel like is important for my selection. Which is I'm not sure if I'm going to get the last name pronounced correctly. Lindsay Neagle, who's like this the woman with disposable income. You know, that's how I always think of her. Like, oh, there's nothing in my purse but a bunch of disposable income. It's the kind of snootiness, the kind of above it allness. She dislikes kids. Like I just feel like this is her. Like that's immediately who I thought of. Like I could just see Miss Wednesday antagonizing Marge every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I went with that one.
So I had two suggestions. One that I feel more confident in. The first is Eve, who is played by Marge from Bible stories for sort of the innocence that is lost. The second one that I have is young Marge, from like the way we was back when she's kind of like trying to figure out who she is before Homer essentially changes the course of her entire life. Like the Marge who goes out to burn bras and is actively debating, and who in many ways is like a princess herself, but who is trying to find who she is and is ideal, and who's a lot more ideological than I think older Marge is. Janine, who did you have?
Oh, I actually did have Teen Marge on here.
Hell yeah!
I had it as Teen Marge because I had Teen Dracula on the brain.
Ah,
But
hi,
it's
Jeff.
yes. So I guess my vote is for also the same one that I had with you, the young Marge or Teen
I
Marge, however you want to put it down.
I think that Teen Marge fits.
Yeah, it's certainly where the character goes. Yes, I think so.
Also, as a side note, they did change her costume uh, in the anime because in the series she just had a series of concentric circles on her outfit. I say as I look at the image gallery that I have, and in the anime, I think mostly to save them a lot of having to draw circles, they just turned them into like diagonal stripes for Vivi. We then have Mr. Nine, who I had two, neither of which I was super excited for. So I'm hoping that y'all can surprise me. I had Hugh Parkfield just because, like, the very princely attitude uh, and wearing a crown was initially, and the gingery hair is what got me there. I also had Evan Conover, the diplomat to Australia. Ken, who did you have?
Just one guy, and this is purely it made me chuckle choice. The yes guy. Yes, I really liked the silly voice, man. The silly voice got me, and that is like it doesn't make any sense on its surface. It does not make any sense, but damn it, that's who I thought of.
You know, sometimes that's what it is. You
Mhm.
seek for the spirit. Janine.
I had this one be another two-part, a pairing,
Mhm.
if you will, with Miss Wednesday for my choice with that, and I chose Artie Ziff.
Mm-hmm. Specifically, Teen Artie Ziff.
Yes, as voiced by John Lovitz, I believe. It's been a while. I haven't seen that episode in forever.
Yes.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm willing to use Teen Artie here.
Team Artie.
Yep, Teen Artie. All right. So that is another solo on the board for Janine.
Nicely done.
We then have Yorkie, who is the captain of the pirates that leave Laboon behind. He'll become a bit important in the future. Who did you have for Yorkie, Ken?
I'm going to be honest. I kind of blanked on this one. I had a difficult time with this one. I had a difficult time with a few of them, so I might defer to the two of you and hear your cases.
Oh no, that is a valid option. I have done that surprisingly a lot in this podcast.
You may have gathered I'm a pretty basic Simpsons person, so yeah, like Eli's like I don't know, or there's a lot of repetition. Anyway, yeah, carry it on.
Janine, who do you have?
I have DohMance.
That's good.
Which DohMance?
How many DohMen by this point have we seen?
I believe
Prime? I
we've
don't know.
had at least two of them, but I'm just also fucking with you.
I mean, like it basically means we could be able to use the same character 3 times.
Mm-hmm. All right. I had special guest star and dropping for no reason other than it amuses me. Paul McCartney. He has a Paul McCartney-esque vibe, and I want to be able to go into the future and say, "Oh, we could have used Paul McCartney here, but we can't."
I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, like I thought about Yorkie, and like I thought, like, okay, this looks like a character that's gonna be like, we're gonna see again later down the road. Who's gonna be someone who's going to like kind of embody whatever vibe this guy's trying to give off, and be funny when I see again? And like the answer was DohMance, 100%.
You don't think it will be Paul McCartney?
I think the vibe I get from Paul McCartney, especially in the episode when we do see him, is like very I don't know what to say. Like it's like a library book. Like, oh, this is I guess here, and a little boring, but
Me, Paul McCartney. I'm going to see my friend Laboon.
So yeah, would you say Yorkie's importance down the line is of a Paul McCartney scale or a DohMance scale?
When he reappears, it is a Paul McCartney, like, oh, I recognize that guy. I feel like DohMance's energy is antithetical to what we end up seeing of Yorkie.
all right, I'll give you that much, but I don't know how I feel about blowing Paul McCartney.
You don't just spend Paul McCartney, folks. You don't spend him like it was a dime.
Like, especially if the joke is like, oh, we could just Paul McCartney would be good here. How many times do you think that the vibe of Paul McCartney would intersect with One Piece?
It will be an incredibly sad musical scene.
I like the idea of kicking Paul McCartney can down the road pretty much indefinitely. Like, is this good enough for Paul? I don't know. Maybe next time. Like, it just never quite lands. Paul's too special.
I mean, that's why we call it the Ooter pile, really.
So you're saying Paul McCartney goes into the Ooter pile? I'm saying DohMance on a level would go into the Ooter pile.
I think that if like there was a character that had the same kind of vibes as him, we would be calling it the DohMance pile. if that happened first.
Okay, let's table Yorkie for now because we do have a bunch of others to get through. Up next, we have Mr. 13, who is an otter who is part of the internal affairs of Baroque Works, who wears a little striped outfit and will throw bombs at people. And Janine, who did you have for Mr. 13?
Okay, I had two choices, and both of them revolve around artistry and being a dick. All right. Ahem. Choice the first. The caricature artist that makes Lisa sad.
That is a thought that I did not have, but very good because yeah, he does quickly draw everybody's faces.
And choice the truant Andy Warhol. Because he has a scene where he tries to crush Homer with a can of soup.
Yep. I had 3 suggestions. One of them I think fits very well. But I was just trying to pad some of mine out. I had Dinner Dog, who was a forgettable Itchy and Scratchy character. The baby seal who got caught in an oil spill and was getting cleaned by celebrities. The one that I actually like is the Northern Reticulated Chipmunk, who blows pollen into Lisa's face. Because that's a similarly small mammal asshole vibe. And has become a big meme on the Simpsons Facebook circuits. Ken, did you have anyone for Mr. 13?
I do. Actually, I have someone because they're presented as a pair, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday. You can probably see where I'm going with this. They're jerks. I'd say they're efficient, but they do get murked like pretty much everyone else. I'm feeling Patty and Selma. Like they're just unimpressed with everyone and everything, and they're jerks. I feel like that's maybe spending some pretty prime characters on some pretty lowly One Piece characters, but I could just really see them chain smoking together. I guess that's really what it came down to.
Which one would you have for Mr. 13, Patty or Selma?
Probably Selma for that one. I'm going back through here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have to say so. I don't know.
All right.
I do like that though. Like these guys do give off that same kind of vibe because nothing even moves them slightly. Like it's
Right.
just being judgmental the entire time.
They're just like sourpuss dead face the whole time. And again, they do get murked pretty quick and they're gone. And so it feels like using big characters for little characters, but like I don't know, man, they show up and like I could just I could just hear the the disapproval. That's really what's saying to me.
Interesting. Well, I want to see who we also have for Miss Friday, the Vulture partner, to kind of get the full vibes and min max these teams that we've got here. So I had the Scary Vulture, but also Socrates the Eagle, the one that was supposed to rescue Bart, technically Timmy O'Toole from the well, who just flies off immediately and does not want to do that. Janine, who did you have?
I had two. I don't know if we used these yet because they're pretty iconic in their own ways. There is Raven Bart and the parrot that Homer argues with at the mall.
The parrot that Homer loves to argue with?
Yes, the very one.
Ooh, I do really like Raven Bard. I don't necessarily know that I want to use Patty and Selma this early for characters that are this minor.
I figured. And it's also, well, yeah, I wondered, but we're also 60-something episodes in. Yeah, okay. I can see Raven Bart.
Like I could see a Raven Bart Northern Reticulated Chipmunk team up.
I think if they did team up, um, like it would be bad for everybody, really. Like,
Oh yeah,
they definitely would have like the same vibes together.
yeah.
Because
When the
I
when
really do
Simpsons
like that we could be able to like think about like have to specify through a number of animals that are assholes, though.
Or a fair amount.
Mhm. it Simpsons has a lot of asshole animals. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the episodes with the Screamo Pillar in it, or we might have. So, can we do Chipmunk and Raven Bart?
I say yes. Yeah.
Yeah, endorsed.
Up next, we have Mr. 8, aka Igarapoy, aka Igaram. And I had 3 suggestions for him. I had Pita Puente, Bleeding Gums Murphy, and also Mr. Largo. Just going with musician, adult, you know.
Yeah, I also had Bleeding Gums. It felt obvious at the time. The musician, I mean, he's holding a freaking saxophone. But yeah, so there's that. I don't know why, and I even wrote it down with a question mark a couple weeks ago, and I don't know why I did it. Wolf Castle, and I couldn't tell you now why. Maybe it's the guns that come out of it. I don't know. I just seem to take a lot of joy in that.
And he has like a German vibe to him.
Yeah, it just again, like I clearly was feeling it back then, but also was questioning it at the moment, as I am now. But yeah, Bleeding Gums or Wolf Castle was what I was feeling.
Janine.
I also had Mr. Largo and Bleeding Gums Murphy. So I think the common link between all of us could get it.
Is
It's
Raven
Patty
Bart.
and Selma.
Paul McCartney.
All right. Yeah, we just Bleeding Gums Murphy, nice and easy. We all agree.
Yeah.
We then have.
And this is like a pretty important Mr. 8, like is a recurring character, I assume, past this point.
We've seen him die, Ken. How could he be?
I guess you're right. What a silly question.
That was one of the reasons why I kind of like wanted that as the character too, because it was just like, well, we don't have to worry about the character coming back.
Yeah, he's just going to keep on going, Mary.
Oh my god!
We then have.
You did that on purpose, piece of shit.
We then have Mr. Shimizu, who literally appears for like all of a second, but is important enough to have a name and entry in a birthday.
What is Shimizu's birthday?
All I remember is he likes booze. That's all I remember.
I almost Googled Mr. Shimizu, The Simpsons, and was like, no, that's what we're figuring out. It is December 11th.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that a Sagittarius?
Capricorn, maybe.
He is extremely addicted to alcohol and is always interested in drinking. No matter the circumstance, he will always want to have a drink. It is said he would go through hell and high water just to get where there is a drinking party.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like they're really... Yeah, no, I remember reading that. I was like, I feel like they're really teeing up an obvious choice here, but I just have to resist on that one.
I didn't even see that. Like, now I'm just like...
Oh, that's on like the cards that they do to pass out some of this information.
I do have a choice. He's barely a Simpsons character at all. I don't think y'all have used him. Is Larry, just one of the regulars at Moe's, because he basically exists as a heartbeat. Or you have used him, haven't you?
Oh, no. I was going to say that's who I have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. He's a drunk and he's barely there. I think that's pretty much it.
He has like 3 lines in the seasons that people remember. Janine, who do you have?
Oh, I had two widely different characters with the same concept of being a thief, but they're in the same episode. It was the camera thief and the wallet thief that both steal from Homer when he first visits New York City.
Before he sees the greatest thief of all, Buddy fucking Allen. He knows what he did. Also, he runs into the Chuds. We could use Chuds some. No, we don't actually see the Chuds. We just have references to them. Yeah. I'm good using Larry. Like, Larry is a known figure, but no storylines ever.
No, he's no Paul McCartney, that's for sure.
He's not the best part of Wings. Janine, are you good with Larry?
I'm good with Larry.
We then have Miss Monday, who is very strong and unfortunately has to fight Zorro and gets her ass kicked.
She looks good doing it, though. Damn, girl.
And I'll give you some fun facts once we get done ranking or putting her onto the list. So, Janine, who did you have for Miss Monday?
I don't know if we used her yet, but Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Okay, yep. I was trying to remember. My mind initially went to Lucy Liu, and then it's like, no, Lucy Lawless, Xena, but she's not Xena. She's Lucy Lawless, which is how she can fly.
Yes.
Ken, did you have anyone for Miss Monday?
Lucy Liu is the Futurama one. No, honestly, for a good chunk of the Baroque folk, I just drew blank. I'm going to let y'all entertain me on the next few.
All right. I had either Miss Powell or Bernice Hibbert. Neither of them really fit. I was just trying to use some of the rare black female characters on The Simpsons. There's not many of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for lack of a better option, I am good to go with Lucy Lawless as a very buff woman.
Yeah, I felt like that definitely like hit the spirit of like the character, because it looks like the gimmick here is that this is a very strong woman.
So good news is she ends up going on and having a kid with Mr. Nine.
That's nice.
But so far, I think in the 10 years since that happened, she has not really made another appearance. One Piece. We then have Mr. Beans, who is a child who is also a bounty hunter who pulls a gun on Zorro. I'm not entirely sure why I had it, other than it amused me. I had Ezekiel, one of the Amish kids who goes to Bart's school, who appears for one scene with Ishmael, because they aren't allowed to sit in on a lesson. Janine, who did you have?
I had two choices.
Spill them beans.
My first choice was Shelby, the Bart Simpson of Shelbyville. For just having that mischievous nature. But the second one was Cool Kid, the kid that is impressed when Bart goes to a new school and is able to do a very good armpit fart noise. Because the kid is only known inside the wiki as Cool Kid, and that kid with the gun is a cool kid. Kids, if you're listening to this horrible podcast, guns aren't cool, stay away from. I'm just saying this particular kid is cool because he has a gun. You won't be though.
Also, if you're listening to this, kids, go to the nearest Apple store and subscribe to this podcast on every device. Uh,
I do have one for this one. I misspoke.
oh,
It's a little bit of a long shot. I almost see this as Jeremy Jailbird, like as basically like further down the path that he was going down. Basically,
uh, Jeremy Jailbird, I do not believe existed at this point.
did he not? I thought
Let
it
me see.
was year 2000.
Oh yeah, I am wrong. You got me wrong on my own show, Ken.
He's fresh, and we are admittedly in the shadow of 9/11 right now. But yeah, no, Jeremy Jailbird. Yeah, I like he's a little sweeter in the show, but like I could see give him another year, another couple of years, the influence of the wrong nun, and he could be pulling guns on people.
I think we need to appeal to those kids by teaching them that teaming up with an evil nun is a way to stay cool. I'm good with cool kid.
All right.
Janine, you're good with cool kid?
Sure, yeah. Sorry, I'm still processing what I just said. Like, am I gonna get in trouble?
Yes. We then have Miss Katharina, who is the evil nun who works with Mr. Beans. Which, what other podcast do you get to say Mr. Beans? It's delightful. If you get a cat, name him Mr. Beans.
Oh my god.
It is a wonderful cat name. I think that falls into the naming cats after any type of food is a great name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Grilled cheese or Oreos. Yeah.
Beef jerky. For Miss Katharina, I had Sister Bernadette, who is one that I've been trying to use for years, and who, whenever I go to the Simpsons wiki, is the page that it automatically recommends to me in my search bar. So Ken, is Miss Katharina one that you didn't have anything for?
I do. Again, this is sort of a glimpse of the future of Jessica Lovejoy. Like I feel like she's, riding the pious / crime line. So not in that moment, but like I could see this is who Jessica Lovejoy could become.
Interesting. Janine, who do you have?
I have Sister Thomasina because that was the first nun of some importance that I was able to find on the Simpsons wiki myself. I'm very interested to hear about yours, though.
Mine?
Yes, Sister Bernadette, wasn't it?
Yes. So she is a character on It Never Ends, played by Allegra Hamilton. And she is supposed to leave the convent and start a softball team with sexy results.
I like that.
With sexy results.
I like that with sexy results, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, well then we have Sister Bernadette.
Same episode, by the way, that Snake Jailbird's son appears in.
With
Fun fact.
Results.
With sexy results. No.
All right. We then have Karu, who is a giant duck. Karu's great. Karu, true champion of the series. Janine, did you have anyone for Karu?
I had Stuart Duck for Kaoru.
Hell yeah, Stuart the Duck, proud employee of the nuclear power plant.
Yes, and as safety inspector, people can look up to.
Mm-hmm. I wish he was my dad. Ken, did you have anyone for Karu?
No, I didn't. But I'm super intrigued by how apparently important Karu will be to this series.
Oh yeah, Karu's ride or die. I also had Stuart the Duck. I also had Mr. Ducky, who was Mr. Burns' rubber duck, who almost kills him on accident. But I'm good to go with Stuart. Stuart also wears a hat. Stuart also has a job, and I just like the idea of a larger, normal duck just wearing Karu's hat and saddle.
Yeah, I'm peeping Stuart Duck right now. I can see this.
Mm-hmm. We then have Mr. Five, and in a great bit of cruelty, we can't actually use the person who Mr. Five is based on because he hasn't appeared in Simpsons yet. He would appear in, I think, a season.
Come again?
Oh, One Piece will frequently just be like, "Hey, let's use a character based on like someone from pop culture."
Oh.
Like, there's another big one. In actually, there's two more in this episode. Like our next two characters after Mr. Five, but I am blanking on his name. Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, okay. Yeah, looking at the hair. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lenny Kravitz doesn't appear until the next season. So I have 4 suggestions for him. Ken, did you have anything for Mr. Five?
No, the next couple I do not.
Well, it's fine. You are just like the people who responded to Twitter. They didn't respond with their suggestions for Mr. Five, so you're in a large.
Ray.
Janine, who did you have for Mr. Five?
Now, let me first start off by saying that there were other characters that I was really going to be ready to argue over.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes when you get so frustrated
Mm-hmm.
with a choice that you're not able to have, you kind of just feel like just throwing in the towel in a very extravagant way. I looked at Mr. Five and Miss Valentine, and I gave them their characters as a pair together. And I went with Carl and Lenny.
Who's who here? I guess.
Carl is Mr. Five and
Yeah.
Lenny is Miss Valentine.
I guess Lenny is fairly fabulous, and yeah, okay.
We are 2 of our show episodes away from getting to my ideal Carl and Lenny pair, Janine. Like, soon I will be good blowing Carl and Lenny simultaneously, just getting both of those shafts, working them, and all right. So
that's the podcast.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. No, I'm excited for the episode where you get to nail Paul McCartney, Lenny, Carl, like they just Lenny Kravitz, like they just all line up. You know, like I'm waiting for the stars to align for you.
It's like Grant O'Brien.
Yeah.
All right. So I have 4 suggestions, like I said, for Mr. Five. So there's the son of the guy who played Huggy Bear, who receives a Emmy. James Brown, Daryl Oates, and also the comedian from Homer and Apu who does the white guys drive like this, black guys drive like this.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those speaking to y'all? Because I feel like Daryl Oates fits in the, like, he is part of a duo.
Yeah, he's got the of those. He's got the cool factor. Like the comedian dude, I don't think is like cool. Like Mr. I say cool, they all get murked again. They're all just get completely jobbed. But like but like he's like cool about it. Like he's got a good presentation. So yeah, I think that of those, I think that would be my pick.
Janine?
Lenny and Carl. Did someone say something? Did someone hear that? I did. Was that my dog? Did you say that?
I'm just gonna defer. Like, I'm just gonna like whatever you guys decide. I guess kind of checked out of these two. Like after that particular.
I have.
It's not that I wanted to really understand like where I was coming with that, or what spirit of the character. I just wanted you to follow my thought process because I did write down some of these things while high. So That's just the area I come from. That's where the genius lives.
So let me ask a question. So I picked oats for Luke's choices. Obviously, I believe Miss Valentine is a pretty much a dead certainty for a return. Mr. Five is as well.
Yes, they will appear on the next arc.
And are they like, is that it for them, or are they like?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The Lenny and Carl thing is very I don't know, is the word hypnotizing? It's very hypnotizing to me. I'm intrigued by this. Like, they're kind of low-level foils, and they kind of never, like they leave a mark, but they never achieve anything. I don't know. That feels.
We have like the perfect Lenny and Carl coming up. Two episodes of the show.
Okay, I don't know. Like, I feel like we should live in the moment, but like, this is your show, and I'm just here briefly, so I'll defer. Do we have a tiebreaker?
I think that I have to do the gentlemanly thing here. All right. I am double checking some things, doing some maths, doing some science, breaking the law. Okay, so Janine?
Yes.
I'm willing to give you Larry the Duffman as Yorkie.
This is off-script Monopoly rules stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Larry Duffman for Yorkie. That is the original Duffman that we see from the city of New York versus Homer Simpson.
I'll take it.
All right.
Witnessed.
We're here to make deals and also lists.
Deal made.
Do you have anyone for Miss Valentine? Ken.
I do not, and that is a bummer to me because honestly, of this entire list, she's my favorite character. She's hilarious. No, honestly, this was I had two for Lindsay Neagle, and she was the other one.
Oh no, I mean you can.
Yeah, that was another one where I had the name there with a question mark. But it might be as simple as they both crack me up. But I don't know. It's that haughtiness and that like she's just such a good antagonist. Like, and I know Neagle comes around, and that might be why I kind of pegged her for Miss Wednesday because of that sort of turn. But yeah, I'll go with Lindsay Neagle again.
All right, I had two suggestions for Miss Valentine. I had Farrah Fawcett just tossing out another blonde there. I also had Becky, the babysitter who drove Marge insane, and Marge tried to kill her, but it turned out that she had thought about replacing Marge and killing her. Just for a similar level of murderousness. Because I feel like Lindsay Naegle, you need the business side of things for the whole character.
Yeah, I guess she's a little more mod than business. She's just so put together, I think, is kind of where I was going with that. She's got that coordinated outfit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, it's a great look. Like, I want to say she's inspired by Twiggy.
Yeah, that would make sense, yeah. Just looking at her smirk. What are your secrets, Miss Valentine? Talk to me. You're wonderful. She just has the one power.
So, Janine, who are you feeling?
I really don't know. I mean, when you put down Lenny, when you're ready just to go with that right there, I think like it's
Going
just like,
without the rabbits, George.
Are we going to run into a murderous babysitter in the future?
Not for like 800 episodes,
Not
and by that
for,
point,
he says.
We'll all be dead by then. That's fine.
Oh my God.
yeah.
If we're still doing this when that comes up, then using this character right now will be my punishment.
Very good with Becky.
Yes.
All right. We then have Miss All Sunday, who was based on Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Huh. Okay.
Did you have anyone, Ken?
The only one I had for her was already taken. Was Laura Powers. Just because she's like, to Bart's point of view, just impossibly cool and out of reach. Like really, it was no deeper than that. I just like that character too. But unfortunately, already spoken for, so I have to bow out of that one.
Yeah, the Powers family is someone who I've also felt regrets. Yeah, no, that's how the game works.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, did we also use? Yeah, we also used
Her mom. Yeah.
God, we just really threw away the Powers.
Yeah, pretty early. Like it's
Yeah.
high up on the list.
Janine, did you have anyone for Miss All Sunday?
I had Lucille Butzkowski, another babysitter. One that's very animated beautifully as she threatens Bart on not knowing what she would do if somebody doesn't do what she says, because everybody always does what she says.
Oh, that's right. She terrified me when I was a kid.
I felt that kind of vibes because I feel like that's kind of the same deal with Miss All Sunday, because I don't exactly know what the fuck she did to kill our boy Mr. 8, but like, I mean, that would make me want to do whatever she says.
All right. Yeah, Miss All Sunday is going to be a fascinating character as we get to learn more about her in future episodes.
She had a very like some of them, you like kind of like went by your guide on who's important, who shows up later. Like she shows up as like, this person has main character vibes, like pretty much right out of the gate. Like, okay, yeah, we will be seeing more of this person.
Mm-hmm. So I had 3 suggestions for her. I had Edna Krabappel, weirdly enough.
Okay.
Using some information that I know, I had the kindergarten teacher from when Bart is forced to go back to kindergarten when Sideshow Bob wins the election. And I also had Shoshana, who is Snake's girlfriend, she only appears for one scene, but they go to Moe's restaurant. And she essentially looks cool and is mysterious, never seen again, and is there when Snake runs a massive grift.
She certainly has the look. I'm Edna Krabappel. Run through that one for me. I'm interested in this.
That's using a bit more of future knowledge. Also, like Miss All Sunday is in her 30s compared to the other characters on the show.
Ancient anime standards, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we find out that she is educated, but also like fills an antagonistic role, and the relationship changes.
Okay, that's interesting.
given that knowledge, I would go Edna. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, no, I trust the instinct in what you're saying here.
All right. Well, then we have Miss All Sunday. Up next, we have Banshee, who is the giant turtle in a cowboy hat that she rides. And yeah, Banshee is pretty much there for moving things around. I had two suggestions. I had both the Yertle the turtle or the Turtle Wax turtle. Janine?
I had 3 choices, and I am very passionate about each and every one of them.
Yes! Give me the turtles.
All right, number 1. The turtle that has Abe Simpson's teeth. Second
good.
one. The turtle that you have to follow when you're having a hallucination.
Yeah.
That's good.
And finally, the wee turtles. All of them that you must save and be saved from.
The Wee Turtles! All right. Do you want to hear some delightful news, Janine?
Yes.
Wee Turtles would definitely have a good purpose. God, turtle with Abe's teeth is evocative. Can I assume you did not have anything?
No, three-eyed fish. I just thought it was, I don't know, something in the eyes. Something in its soul. No, I really thought of the three-eyed fish. That was kind of it. I don't know why I went opposite day on all the animals in terms of scale. When you said the hallucination turtle, I was like, yeah, that's the one. Like that just feels like this is, you see that if you are hallucinating and you see Banshee show up with the hat and the kerchief and all that, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go wherever you go. Like that tracks to me.
Yeah, and it's a transportation turtle. God. Yeah, I'm good with hallucination turtle. So we have our turtle. We then have Garp. Not the world according to him. I have 4 suggestions for him. I have famous actor who I always confuse with another person, Ernest Borgnine. George C. Scott. Abraham Simpson, and also Hellfish Abraham Simpson. Janine, who did you have for Garp?
I had, if we have not used them already, which I feel like we might, because I feel like these are characters that we have suggested before. McGriff the Crime Dog. And Surly.
Surly Duff.
Yes.
I don't believe. Nope. The only results for Mick we have are Mark McGuire. Ken, did you have any suggestions for?
I actually also had McGriff the Crime Dog. It's maybe obvious, but like that's a big old dog head in a coat. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, you got up and down certified 100%. That's a McGriff.
Yeah, like right there, like bam, there it is. There's a McGriff. You see something sucking blood out. That's a Dracula. Like, what are you gonna do? That's what it is. I guess he's a McGriff the Sea Dog or something, but same idea.
The two of you are agreed on this. I've argued enough points for tonight. Garp is McGriff the Crime Dog.
I'm excited because I feel like the importance of Garp compared to McGriff is way out of whack.
No, in like 400 episodes, it'll be even more hilarious.
Yeah.
We then have Bogard, who is Admiral Garp's assistant, who doesn't really do much except look on.
Mm-hmm.
I went very on the nose with Humphrey Bogart.
Mm-hmm.
Janine?
Rex Banner.
Didn't we use Rex Banner?
Did we?
Yes, because we
Brand
wanted Rex brand new.
Oh.
That was a Luke and Janine collab.
That's right. We were geniuses.
Hmm? Did you have any other suggestions?
I did it.
All right. Ken, did you have anything for Bogart?
I do. I had a couple, and the basic idea was like decently competent henchmen. Like you're right, Bogart. Like it's interesting how fooled I am by the aesthetics of the characters because you're right, it doesn't really do anything. But my vibe is like, oh, this guy's got it together. You know, like he's got it figured out. So Lou, at least compared to Chief Wiggum, is a relatively competent, not stupid right hand man type, and also just carrying on the sound, Louis, Fat Tony's guy. Again, he's just kind of there. But he has the basic air of like, all right, he's not a complete buffoon. So Lou or Louis, I don't know. I also just like the name, apparently.
I'm going to push for Humphrey Bogart just because that is who Bogart is named after. And it is based on.
Seems like a bit of a ringer. Okay. All right.
Hey, you win the Bring Your Dog to School contest by bringing your dog to school, Ken.
I think Bogart is Bogart. Okay, all right. Like that's how we're doing it then. Now I like get a sense of how upset you were that Lenny Kravitz doesn't show up till later in The Simpsons because you were like gonna like no, it's Lenny Kravitz. Moving on. Paul McCartney. Sorry. Yes. All right, I'll give it to you.
All right. And Janine's was ineligible. All right. Last we have the news coup, who is a bird that delivers the newspaper. I have the seagull from Dumbbell Indemnity, which just attacks Homer. Janine, I think this was one that you said you had a very important opinion on.
Arnie Pie in the Sky.
I had a feeling.
Kim, did you have anyone for this bird?
I didn't. I did actually consider Arnie Pie in the Sky. Just I don't know. It made sense. So I'm throwing in a vote for Arnie.
If you're throwing your vote behind it, it is late. I'm willing to go with it.
It's good. I'm glad we like wore you down.
Yeah, no, this episode has gone wild places.
That's okay.
Next episode we only have like 7 people to rank, but it's likely just going to be even stranger. Because I mean, I was working on that list today. I put Frank Grimes on the list.
Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah. So, to recap, for Laboon, we have Stampy the Elephant. For Crocus, we have Jasper Beardsley. For Miss Wednesday, we have Teen Marge. For Mr. Nine, we have Teen Artie Zip. For Yorkie, we have Larry Duffman. For Mr. 13, we have Northern Reticulated Chipmunk. For Miss Friday, we have Raven Bart. For Igaram, we have Bleeding Gums Murphy. For Mr. Shimizu, we have Larry, the Barfly. For Miss Monday, we have Lucy Lawless. For Mr. Beans, we have Cool Kid. For Miss Katharina, we have Sister Bernadette. For Karu, we have Stuart the Duck. For Mr. Fi, we have Daryl Oates. For Miss Valentine, we have Becky. For Miss All Sunday, we have Edna Krabappel. For Banshee, we have Hallucination Turtle. For Gark, we have McGriff the Crime Dog. For Bogart, we have Humphrey Bogart. And for News 2, we have Arnie Pie in the Sky. So, Ken, thank you for joining us for this very weird episode. Do you think you're going to keep watching the series, or maybe you can go back to the start, or make the weirdest choice of waiting for the Netflix live action show to come out?
Ooh, no, that's never the answer. That last one. Yeah, no, I feel like I might. I feel like I could go back, but I'm kind of in the boat of like, but I've already seen these characters. Let's just keep it moving. I'll definitely have to keep it on subs because of the yelling. But yeah, I would like to continue with it for sure.
All right. Well, and eventually they do get to some recap episodes. So the magic of anime. Uh, well, Ken, where can people find you and your work online?
Sure. Pretty much everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, what have you, just at Ken Lowery, KenLowery. I make games under Bannerless Games, which is at Bannerless Games. I'm on Itch, I'm on Drive Through RPG, I'm on Indie Press Revolution, about to be on Exalted Funeral. I have a desk job that has some downtime, so I'm just on Twitter a lot. So just bother me there if that's your thing.
All right. And Janine, where can people find you online?
Oh, you can be able to find me on Twitter at Janine Juliet. That's it for now.
Yeah. That is perfectly fine. You can find me on Twitter at Koltreg. That's KOLTREG. Or you can visit my website at lukeherr.com. I also have a Patreon where you can get these episodes early, if that is a possibility. I am also currently doing a Magic the Gathering Ravnica set D&D campaign over on Established Property Playhouse, where you can also see that Pokemon RPG that I did with Janine a few years ago. Our covers are by Colt Hoskins, who you can find at Colt Hoskins, COLTHOSKINS, on Twitter. And you can visit our website at DohMance, DohManceDawn, or you can find our Twitter at DohMance, DohMance. Thank you for listening to these episodes. Please be intimidated by the challenges that we put out for you to submit characters and suggest characters, because we're harsh. That's because we want to do the job well. Thank you for listening. Next time, things are going to get kinky because there's just going to be a lot of wax and giants and dinosaurs.
He says this and he knows that I haven't ever watched One Piece, so it's always just jacked up and wild, and it's like, oh, not only is he just saying that, but like that's actually something that I'm gonna have to for real do.
He gave you that, and he gave you Frank Grimes. He gave you a lot to work on. This is
I know.
pretty. Ooh, there's some promise here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see you at Little Garden, like a Chica Cherry Cola.